In this video, I'll show you the heart designs. What you're going to need for this project are your tools, 20 gauge wire, the jig, and of course your pegs and some beads as well. So I'm just setting up the jig for the first one. Be sure to put the plugs on the back of the pegs, and I'll start by taking my 20 gauge wire and just winding it around the smallest peg to start the loop. Then I'm going to remove it, rotate it, and put the loop in between the larger pegs. These are the second to largest size peg, and we're just going to bend the wire around and then loop it around the bottom peg. And then we're going to do the same with the other side. So bring it around and loop it around the bottom peg to form the heart. And then from there, we'll remove it from the jig and clip those ends flush with our flush cutters. Flip it over and do the other side, clip it flush. And then we want to just use the flat pliers to press the ends in and then wiggle these ends around so they sit one on top of the other. From there, you can dangle some beads below it and put an earring hook or a jump ring on the top. So for the next one, we're going to start it the same way. Just loop it around and then around the top right away. So we're going to bring that one around the top. So we've done the top of the heart. Remove it from the jig and take your flat pliers and bend the longer wire out at a right angle and take the round pliers, line it up to see where you need to bend it, and bend that other end around in a loop, which is going to surround that other wire. Give it a little tug and then snip the end with your flush cutters. After that, get your flat pliers, pinch it in, and now you're going to push that end straight up. So now you have the basic shape, and then add your beads, 6 millimeter, a spacer bead, and a 4 millimeter bead. Clip it to about 1/2 inch with your flush cutters and get the round pliers, bend it back at an angle and around to form the loop at the top, and just use your flat pliers to pinch the end in. From there, you can get some earring hooks. I use surgical steel hooks, and there are your earrings. Now for the next one, I'm just going to bend the end first at an angle with my flat pliers, and then I'm going to add it to the jig and bend the tops around as we did before. So just bend the tops around the pegs. There's your heart, and then you can remove it from the jig. Now again, get your flat pliers, bend it out at an angle, and the round pliers to twist that other end into a loop. Give it a tug and clip that end. From there, get your flat pliers to tuck that end in and push the other one straight up. And then after that, just clip the end to about 1/2 inch and get your round pliers, bend it at an angle and loop it around to make the loop at the top. It's a very simple heart. And now we want to do the spirally ones, so we're going to put our wire down and loop it around the bottom peg and then around the larger pegs a couple of times. Same on the other side. Loop it around a couple of times so they're in the same position, the wires. and remove it from the jig. Now clip the ends in the same spot so you have the same amount of wire. Take the end with your round pliers and twist it around. So I will say do a little flick of the wrist, rotate the wire around and push it in to make your spiral. This is my preferred way to make spirals. I usually do them on a cone. I'll link up some videos where I show you how to make very easy and perfect spirals. So twist the wire in, push it in there, and you can take the end and wiggle it around to make sure the spirals are centered how you like them. Just keep wiggling them around until they're more or less even. And then use your flat pliers to line up the wires a little more and use your fingers to press them in. So there's your simple heart with the spiral. And then so now we're actually going to make jump rings. So on the second to smallest peg, we're going to wind it around in a coil and then just separate them a bit with your nails if they're not quite separate, because you want to get in with your flush cutters to clip these apart. And then just flip it around so they're flush on both sides. You can also cut this with double flush cutters, or if you do a tighter coil, you can saw them with a jewelry saw. So just clip them apart until you have a bunch of jump rings. You can also use commercial jump rings if you have them, but this works well with the 20 gauge wire to make the jump rings. And make sure your cutters are cutting flush. From there, we'll put one jump ring on one side of the heart, and then we'll get another one and put it on the other side of the heart, and then a third jump ring to attach those two jump rings together. That way you'll be able to hang that heart by the jump rings. And there you go, you can hang it on a cord or on some earrings. So for this one, we are going to form the loop again on the bottom peg, flip it over, straighten the wires if you need to, hold it in place and bring it around to form the heart. So you want to crisscross these, put the left one over the right one to form the heart there. Remove it, hold the ends together at an even angle and twist. 1, 2, 3. Make sure your wires are out at an even angle to make an even twist. Adjust the heart as you need. From there, I'm going to put it back on the jig to the second to smallest peg and wind it around a couple of times. You can also wind the wires around the end of a pen if you want slightly larger loops. So we're just winding them around so the wires are in the same position. Clip them flush with your flush cutters, and again get your round pliers, hold the end and rotate it in to form our spiral. The smaller spirals are a little trickier to do than the larger ones, but you can just keep wiggling them around with your round pliers. These are my favorite round nose pliers. They're stainless steel and they're nice and smooth and make a really nice little loop. So just take the end, rotate it around. I'll link up below all my tools and wires as well. So you can do the finishing adjustments with your thumb and your finger. From there, we'll get a small piece of wire and make a little loop in the end, and you can put a little bead to dangle down. This is a little glass heart bead. I'll cut it to about 3/8 of an inch and then take my round pliers and bend it back on an angle and around to form a loop, and just hang it on the heart. Close up the loop. Use your flat pliers so there's no little pokey ends. And I'm going to make another little wire loop. This time I'm going to bend it 1.5 inches a bit from the end and loop it around to form a large loop that's going to hang at the top of the heart. So now we're going to hold that with the flat pliers and wind the end around to secure it. Make sure your loop is large enough so the heart has a bit of give. Clip the end, pinch it in, and if you want you can add a little bead or several beads, and take your small round pliers, bend it back at a bit of an angle. This time I'm going to do a little double bail. So take your round pliers and wind it around a couple of times. Just looks a little more fancy. Just use your larger round pliers or your looping pliers and wind the end around underneath the loop. Cut it flush, and then get your flat pliers to pinch in any pokey ends. And there you have a fancier heart. So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire art and jewelry, be sure to join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook. And if you'd like to check out my work on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. I also have a mailing list, so if you'd like to sign up below, I'll send you my Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.